With just 1 week finished in the Champions League, it might be a little too early to accurately predict the tournament. That won't stop our experts Jenny Berman and Manny Tobe from giving us their way too early Champions League predictions. So Jenny, we're going to start with you. Which team do you think is the favorite to win the Champions League?
I got to go with FC Barcelona, and people gave them a lot of trash at the beginning of the season with their transfer window and everything else, but they beat Juventus 3-0, and Juventus made the final last year, always one of the premier teams in Europe. They looked like the dominating team, and I'm really happy with how they played. Messi is still playing like he always has.
But Juventus also, their whole defense got really destroyed based on, during the transfer, so they're missing a lot of key figures on defense.
Right, but they still have Barzagli and Chiellini, and that makes them still one of the best defenses, and Gianluigi Buffon behind them. They're still one of the best defenses, still have Paulo Dybala up front. They're one of the best teams.
I know, but for my pick, Real Madrid, I feel like you can't really compare the defense of Juventus compared to the defense of Real Madrid, who has consistently been one of the top defenses in the Champions League.
That's assuming Ramos doesn't get a red card.
Well, that's your favorite to win, but I'm going to throw it to you, Manny. Which team do you think could be a dark horse contender?
So for dark horse, I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about Chelsea, especially with them not playing the Champions League last year, but they have a really interesting team. I mean, with the 3 young talented guys that they picked up, as well as you have Eden Hazard, who's really hungry. And he came to Chelsea because he wanted to win. And this year they have the best chance to win.
My problem with Chelsea is just that they always seem to be filled with dysfunction. If you look at a team like Chelsea, you say on paper they're one of the most talented teams, but it's off the field and everything else that comes with that is always a problem. There's always some kind of drama. There's fallout between the players and the manager, and that kind of distraction really can affect a team. My pick is Manchester United, and while maybe this is a little too early to say that, I'm thinking that they could be a dark horse to at least make a very deep run because they have one of the most talented teams in the Premier League. They're finally playing like a team worthy of their talent level, and they're coached by Jose Mourinho, who always seems to do well in a 3-year span. If this is the beginning, Manchester United is a team to fear.
I agree that they do have a good team as well, and they have a lot of talent, but I feel like Manchester United really has a record of playing down to their competition and lacking inconsistency.
Well, that's fine because they're going to be playing some of the best in Europe. If they play down to the best, they're still playing the best.
But if they're not consistent, then they're not consistent. So it doesn't matter who they're playing.
That's true, but still, I have the same problem with Chelsea, that they're not consistent and they tend to play weird games and they'll lose against teams that they shouldn't be losing against and they'll beat teams that they have no right to beat. They're both inconsistent teams. That's why they're dark horses.
All right. Well, that was riveting, but there are a few groups in this tournament that can be considered the group of death. Jenny, which team do you think may surprisingly fail to make the knockout round?
To me, the group of death brings up Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, Roma. Those are the 3 top teams there. The other team in there really, I don't think has a chance, so I'm not even going to include them. But with those 3 teams, you have 2 teams first off that are historically really good. Chelsea's won before. Atletico Madrid, always in the final, always a top team. But you look at Roma, and they're one of those teams that kind of gets underestimated, but is still a very, very strong team. It wouldn't surprise me if they finished in the top 2 and one of Chelsea or Atletico found their way into the Europa League.
I disagree. I don't think Roma can make it. I don't think Roma can break the top 2, especially with Chelsea and Atletico Madrid. My group is Group B, my Group B has Bayern Munich, PSG, Celtic, as well as Anderlecht. And I really like Celtic as a really talented young team.
My problem, though, I just don't think that Celtic even has a shot of competing with those top 2 in Bayern and PSG. You're talking about 2 heavyweights in Europe. To me, Celtic is a fun story when they're playing teams that kind of have a little bit of inconsistency, but when you're talking about Bayern and PSG is now super loaded with talent, those are teams that I don't think Celtic stands a chance against.
Yeah, but isn't the group of death when you have a talented team who can't really make it because they're in a group with a lot of talented teams as well?
To me, a group of death is 3 teams that in their own right deserve to be there, and yet one of them can't make it because of that. So when I see Celtic, I say they don't deserve to be there in a group with PSG and Bayern.
And you compare that with Roma? I don't think Roma deserves to make it as well.
I think they're almost as good as Chelsea.
Almost as good?
Yeah, and so that means that on any given day, you know how European tournaments go, anything can happen.
Well, that's all from us here at One on One. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms. And until next time, whose side are you on?